Hi, this is Audrey. Can we reduce air pollutants by driving electric cars?
No. More power generation is required to produce the electrical energy for electric vehicles.
Wouldn't the number of air pollutants coming out of a power plant that produces electric energy for charging an electric car and a gasoline car be similar? The answer is that even if the electric energy to drive an electric car is produced from a conventional power plant, it emits much fewer air pollutants than a gasoline car.
No way. If more people use electric cars, more electricity will be needed, and more power plants will have to be built to do so, leading to more air pollution. Eco-friendly power generation such as solar and wind cannot generate large amounts of electricity. My state doesn't have many green power plants, so the air pollution might be worse.
Since the power generation rate for coal, natural gas, nuclear power, and eco-friendly power plants to produce electricity varies from state to state and region to region, air pollutant emissions from existing power plants vary. Still, air pollution emissions can be reduced in all areas.
If you search how clean is your electric vehicle? In Google, you can go to the following page. If I live in Madison, Wisconsin, which has the fewest eco-friendly power plants in the United States, I will compare air pollutants for gasoline and electric cars, as Tesla 3. The Tesla 3's mpg CO2e in Madison is 51, the lowest number in the US. The mpg, miles per gallon equivalent, means that for a given EV and electricity region, this measures the fuel economy a gasoline-powered car would have to achieve to generate an equivalent amount of global warming pollution. If I lived in Hollywood, a gasoline car should be able to go 140 miles per gallon compared to driving a Tesla 3. There are many green power plants in California, so it can reduce much more air pollutants than in Wisconsin. The important thing is that even in Wisconsin, electric cars can reduce air pollutants by 40% compared to gasoline cars.
The following picture compares the amount of air pollutant emissions when driving a gasoline car, when driving an electric car using electric energy produced by the current power plant, and when driving an electric vehicle using electric energy produced by an eco-friendly power plant. Compared to gasoline cars, CO2 can be reduced by about 64% when electricity is produced at existing power plants and 100% in the case of eco-friendly power plants. NOx can be reduced by about 65% if electricity is produced at existing power plants and by 100% in the case of eco-friendly power plants. As the Union of Concerned Scientists cite, David Richmond said, "One of the questions I'm most frequently asked about electric vehicles is, are they really a cleaner option? While it's obvious that a fully electric vehicle eliminates tailpipe emissions, people often wonder about the global warming emissions from generating the electricity to charge an electric vehicle. The latest data affirms that driving on electricity produces significantly fewer emissions than using gasoline and is getting better over time." To compare the climate-changing emissions from electric vehicles to gasoline-powered cars, we analyzed all the emissions from fueling and driving both types of vehicles. For a gasoline car, that means looking at emissions from extracting crude oil from the ground, moving the oil to a refinery, making gasoline and transporting gasoline to filling stations, in addition to combustion emissions from the tailpipe. For electric vehicles, the calculation includes both power plant emissions and emissions from the production of coal, natural gas, and other fuels power plants use. When looking at all these factors, driving the average EV is responsible for fewer global warming emissions than the average new gasoline car everywhere in the US. In some parts of the country, driving the average new gasoline car will produce 4 to 7 times the emissions of the average EV. For example, the average EV driven in upstate New York has emissions equal to a 231 mpg gasoline car. And in California, a gasoline car would need to get 122 mpg to have emissions as low as the average EV. In summary, the conclusions are as follows. First, electric vehicles which use energy generated from power plants using coal or oil are not a completely green solution but emit fewer air pollutants than conventional engine vehicles. Second, electric vehicles using energy from green power plants are almost eco-friendly, generating almost no air pollutants. Third, the green power station cannot generate energy when needed, so storage and transport are very important. Thank you for watching. Audrey Choi has spoken so far.